you worked with other groups to help with feeding. And your big campaign in December, the You Can Share food drive, was completely different. We didn't collect cans for obvious reasons. You went about it differently. What did you learn from that?
You're right. Well, we converted it from a food drive to a fund drive because we had received some product in and we were buying product, and we had a storage issue. We have all this food coming in and we are distributing it as quickly as we can. So we also knew that we needed to supplement what we were getting with items that we are no longer going to be getting. So it went very, very well. I think what COVID is teaching everyone is that you have to look at the silver linings of coming through a pandemic. And I think the organizations that were resilient and innovative, I think they are emerging as the most successful. And that's exactly what we had to do with the fund drive this year. It was very different, having not many children out of the site, not many people coming out and the big hoorah on site, but it was still really impactful. It gave us an opportunity to talk about our programs, to talk about the people we are serving. Hunger has many faces, from the child to the senior citizen. And we were able to really let people know what we do.
Talk about, from your perspective, how this impacted our kids.
Well, of course, youth programming in many ways has been curtailed some, if not stopped altogether, but the mentoring programs and the scouting programs and all that are really, each unit is working on its own to do what it can. And there's a lot of innovation going on there. And the children have to have that constant nurturing and mentoring. It's just very important. But what has really frightened a lot of us is the unknown about children who are absent from school and still are absent even from virtual learning, and what is their situation. And it is a serious problem. And we may not know the answer to all of that for a while, but the people like at the Children's Advocacy Center and CASA, there's high concern for the children in our community.
Does the pandemic cause pause as you think about what's important to your organization going forward?
In a lot of ways, 2020 just confirmed for us that the priority is to keep those nonprofits strong. And so when we came through 2020 and going into 2021, I don't think it reshapes the way we have operated in our community for a long time, but it reinforced it. It said, the people that are in our nonprofits are incredible, doing incredible work, and they are the experts. And so it's really important for us to be there for them. And I think that's what has impacted probably our decision-making going forward, is just to say that those groups, those nonprofits, those community volunteers that are out there are the best resources we have. And so anything that we can do as a private foundation to help them continue to be strong, be innovative. I mean, the way they have responded with new kinds of approaches to what they've been doing for years is just incredible. And so just to encourage that, continue to encourage that, I think is really the main takeaway that we had from 2020. It's to reinforce for us that our nonprofits are just the most incredible asset we have, and we need everything we can to make sure that they stay strong.
Let's stay on that topic for a minute. Back to the response fund. It was the CH Foundation, Helen Jones Foundation, the Community Foundation of West Texas, United Way, sort of led the way. But we were joined by our banks, business community, some families, people that wrote $5 checks and much larger checks. The collaboration that I saw in this idea that nobody really cared who got the credit. Talk about that a little bit. Glenn mentioned how quickly and how nimble it was. Talk about it from what it looked like to you guys.
Well, like I said earlier, we knew we would probably be asked to be involved in some way. And so the group came together very quickly, as you remember. It was like the second week in March. And the business community came in, and they brought their fundraising expertise and their resources. We were kind of a convener. We were just at the table to do whatever we could do. And then we could also see that the United Way and Community Foundations of West Texas were just perfectly situated to be able to put together a process that would get that money very quickly to the highest needs. But I think the one thing that the whole group really wanted to make sure was this was the early days of this. We had no idea where it was headed, and it was so important for us to have the ability for individuals to be a part of that. And United Supermarkets, of course, stepped up and said, we can do a register campaign. Because I think it's still true, but especially in those early days when you did not know what to do, you really didn't know how you could help, but you wanted to be a part of the solution. I think that everybody in that group, even when we started with a very small core of people that were working together, there was a sense that the entire community wanted to come up and come together to be a part of the solution for this. And we didn't know how long it was going to go on or how big. I don't think any of us had any idea a year later we would still be doing this. But, that 1.6 million, as Glenn said, it came together in about 3 weeks. And then I think all of the funds were actually expended to great projects, over 66 different proposals in about 3 months. So I think the response was pretty incredible. It's the kind of thing you don't see unless there's incredible circumstances around it. And we had an incredible problem in front of us. And it was really, really nice to be a part of that conversation.
Yeah, it was pretty neat because we knew there would be federal help on the way, but as we look back on it, it was months, not days or weeks. It was still months away, and I think some families and some our organizations that support families and wouldn't have made it without that. Do you live your mission last year?
More than ever before, I believe. The things that took place and the hardships that a lot of these agencies went through and how they learned to pivot was an incredible thing to watch. And that goes for the food bank, that goes for family counseling services. And I think one of the stories that touched me is our friends at Family Counseling who provide counseling for mental health services. And we hear so much about how that's been a priority. They received one of those, it was a rather small grant from the Response Fund, but it allowed them to purchase the technology necessary to do telemedicine, if you will, and do counseling sessions over the internet. And the rules from the state were changed to where that was acceptable. And they said they would have literally had to go out of business and not be able to serve their clients had they not received that funding. So that's just one small example of the impact and the adaptation that you see from so many organizations. And it's not just nonprofits. Obviously, it's the business community, it's families, it's government, it's everybody. But we all pulled together and it worked out okay. It's going to be, I think, more of a prolonged recovery than we thought that it would be in terms of fundraising for the agencies. Nonprofits have had to cancel so many events or do them differently. Mm-hmm. Some of the proceeds are down, some are, about where they were, some are up, but it's just in a constant state of change at this point, and that's going to continue for the foreseeable future, I believe.
Let's talk about that. So as you think about 21, what do you see on the horizon for 21?
I'm just really looking forward to everybody getting back to their lives, the kids everybody feeling safe and knowing that that the uncertainty of is school gonna, are we gonna be able to continue to do this? So I think in 2021, I'm excited about just getting back to whatever's normal